All right, hey there, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jason Smith. We're tracking Rafael here, so get my audio levels pretty much checked out here. We should be in pretty good shape. We've got a tropical storm in the Caribbean Sea, and this is something we've been watching as an area for potential development for at least a week. And it was a tropical depression earlier today. Now it is a tropical storm, and Rafael lifting to the north. We think it will get better organized. It's actually an environment that really favors strengthening in the short term. Long range, that's a different story. But this one will likely become a hurricane, enter the Gulf, and could it head our way? Certainly that is a possibility, but we also expect it to be weaker once it makes it towards the northern Gulf. And I want to pull this system up for you so you can see what's going on with it. There's a look at it right here on the satellite imagery. And we're starting to see some more intense cloud tops around the center, but it's still not perfectly well organized. It is a low-end tropical storm right now, pressure about 1,000 millibars. Here are the latest statistics on the system here. And I'll bring it up full so you can see it a little bit better there. Right south of Jamaica, you see that red right in the center of your screen? That is what's happening with this system. Now, what is going to happen in time is that we expect it to move across Cuba, and it may do that as a hurricane, and that will happen sometime late into the middle of the week. We're thinking Wednesday-ish, Wednesday evening, emerging into the Gulf of Mexico and then heading towards the northern Gulf later in the week. And looking at it there on the GFS, it has it actually across Cuba as of 5 p.m. This is going to move across a part of Cuba that is not particularly mountainous compared to the central and the eastern side of Cuba. So it's not necessarily going to be in an area that will have any real impact on it as it moves over land. Once it gets into the northern Gulf, you can see it there, but it's harder to see where the center is. It's going to start weakening, especially if it were to come our way or even over towards Louisiana, because of upper level wind shear, dry air, and cooler sea surface temperatures. It's not August, it's not September. This is early November, so systems this time of the year typically are weaker as they come ashore, and it actually falls apart completely as of lunchtime Saturday with this particular track. And again, this is just one model. The models are all over the place with this one, but this is one of the scenarios that would bring it more directly towards us and has it crumbling as it comes ashore. It is a 45-mile-per-hour system as of the 6 o'clock advisory. This may be a little weird to you because the advisories are going to come down on a different schedule. They're an hour earlier than what we would normally see because of daylight savings time. So our next advisory will be at 9. We'll have an update on that on Fox 10 News at 9. And with that, we'll have a new forecast track too. Here is what the official track from the National Hurricane Center is showing. A fairly substantial hurricane, a Category 2, and hitting Cuba, then beginning to weaken. And if you look more closely here at the actual times and the actual winds, I'm going to try and zoom in on this path for you a little bit here. And so what we're seeing here, especially if you're looking at this at a mobile device, is that it goes from 100 miles per hour down to about 90, down to about 85, then 75, then tropical storm. The most likely scenario is that if it were to take a direct hit on us, it would be a weakening tropical storm as it comes ashore. We're not at this point seeing a situation where we would have a hurricane in the northern Gulf simply because the factors are just so hostile for any kind of significant strengthening, especially beyond Wednesday. Once we get into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there are a lot of things that may have an impact. Also, where's it going? Well, everything's pretty certain that we've got it in the Gulf and into the southeastern or central Gulf of Mexico through Thursday. But once we get into Friday and Saturday, the models split. Some take it, the European model, great model, takes it over towards Mexico. Some of the Hurricane Center type models, HWRF, HWRF, some of those, take it over towards the Louisiana coast, and then you've got the GFS solution, which brings it basically right towards us, and even some of the Canadian solutions, which have it east of us. So that where it's going is still to be determined in a big way, and there are a lot of different models that rip this thing apart too, and it doesn't even make it ashore. So interesting to watch this one. A lot of uncertainty, but the good news is that water temperatures in the northern quarter of the Gulf are not supportive for a tropical system. There's a Gulf loop current that still has some water temperatures that would help fuel a system with water temperatures in the low 80s in that Gulf loop current. But once it gets out of the northern edge of that loop current, water temperatures fall off into the 70s pretty quickly, and it's just not the environment that favors a tropical system. The other thing that will be happening is wind shear. There's no shear really at all in the short term, but late in the week, when it gets into the northern Gulf or the northwestern Gulf, it's going to encounter a really stiff upper level winds. You see where the colors turn to blue and then green and then orange. That's a lot of wind shear, and that will be likely ripping this thing apart. All right, so that's an update on what's happening in Rafael. Still too far out to tell if it'll have a direct impact on us or even bring us any rain. The most likely scenario is that we get a weakening tropical storm and some much needed rain to help with the drought conditions. In the meantime, tomorrow is election day, and be aware that we will see some passing showers tomorrow. I expect those to be fast moving, so they shouldn't have a big impact on things, but we may have some wet streets as you get out to vote, that kind of thing, in some of these places where we see some of these spotty passing showers. And they'll be around through the 6 o'clock hour. And our election day planner here, our best rain chances, we're thinking morning, mid-morning, and early afternoon. A little lower chance later in the day. Temps up into the low 80s with these crazy warm temperatures. And looking ahead, our temps into the low 80s on Wednesday and Thursday. If we were to see an impact from Rafael, that would be Friday and into Saturday. And right now, our rain chances are around 40%. Those would go up a little if we were to see a direct hit from a tropical system, obviously. But keep in mind, dry air and shear will be having an impact, and that may take a lot of the rain out of the circulation, especially in the long range. And we don't see any fall-like air. That's what's missing here in this forecast. It looks like it's going to stay above average with our temperatures for both daytime highs and overnight lows. So I'll switch it back to a look at that track on Rafael in case you missed it at the top here. And here it is here. So we'll get that pulled up for you. And I'll leave it up full. We appreciate you joining us here on our Gulf Stream and on our platforms, on our Fox10TV.com, as well as on our Fox 10 weather app for an update. This is a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm. The forecast track looks troublesome, but keep in mind, likely going to be a weakening system when it gets to the northern Gulf. So at this point, we're not looking at a scenario where we could have an impending hurricane by the end of the week. But we may have some rain on our hands, some rough surf, those kind of things. We'll keep watching here on Fox 10.